During this PowerPoint, we're going to be going over first reviewing your bug lists and seeing how that worked. Then we're going to look at clusters, patterns, and categorization. Then we'll move on to mind maps. And finally, we will finish up with the scamper process. Let's review y'all's bug lists. Hopefully you guys use some of the techniques that were taught in class yesterday in order to come up with items, and hopefully you came up with a fair amount of number of bugs that'll make the next step of the process a whole lot easier. In order to continue the divergent thinking, we're going to look at clusters, patterns, and categorization. Some of the tools you can utilize here include categorizing ideas, recognizing patterns and trends, making associations between two different ideas, and elaborating on ideas. As for divergent thinking, when you're doing divergent thinking, you really want to zoom out on a problem to help analyze all the aspects, and you're looking to analyze and examine ideas from all sides before narrowing the focus. You can use clustering and categorizing specifically for the bug lists you created earlier. So for clustering, you'd want to group items that could possibly relate to different ideas or topics together, and keep ideas connected with a bubble or listed underneath each other. Additionally, you can categorize your bug lists, and now would be a good time to try and categorize your bug lists individually. That could be part of your homework later to finish this process, so there's no need to rush. Let's start with start working on the mind map now. We're going to break the problem into essential components and select the four most essential components of the problem, and then ultimately end up creating a mind map. We can work more on the mind map here and re-examine the group mind map. And to do that, you can ask yourself what potentially can be added, and ask yourself what are the benefits of mind mapping in the terms of generating new ideas, elaborating on current ideas, and potentially solving problems. Additionally, taking breaks from problem solving can definitely prove to be beneficial. Now we're moving on to Scamper, which is really an interesting process for idea generation. It stands for substitute, combine, adapt, magnify or modify, put to other uses, eliminate, and rearrange/reverse. Remember that you should always defer judgment while generating ideas so that no idea is left unexplored. And when you're coming up with ideas, always make sure to write them down just so that you don't forget them. And the process of documenting thoughts and ideas can actually speed up the creative process and trigger new thoughts. The first component of Scamper, the S, stands for substitute. Just can you substitute something? How could you exchange this for that? You can substitute any aspect of the idea, including people or places, things, procedures, or even emotions. You really want to focus on making decisions to substitute part of the process with another. Some of the questions that you could ask during this part include, what part of the process can be substituted without affecting the entire project? Who or what can be substituted without affecting the process? What part in the process can be replaced with better alternatives? And can the project time or place be replaced?
Honey, would you smell the shoe?
Oh my God, honey, can't you just wait till I'm finished eating?
I know I've asked you a million times, just a million and one more. Smell the shoe.
Honey, I don't smell anything.
What?
I don't smell anything.
Pa, what do you smell?
Nothing.
Peaches and onions. That's the secret.
I don't smell anything.
You don't smell
I
anything.
don't smell anything. Whoa, I don't smell anything.
We don't smell anything. I told you I was on the brink of no stink. I don't smell anything. I don't smell anything.
Family doesn't smell anything.
I don't smell it.
In the previous scene taken from the film Holmes, Mr. Yelnats accidentally found his cure for smelly shoes by substituting into his recipe peaches and onions. Remember, cannot hurt to try. The next portion, C, stands for combine. And you ask yourself, can you combine it? This process, also known as synthesis, you can combine disciplines, ingredients, purposes, ideas, materials, subjects, activities, people, or locations. For example, merging phone technology with digital cameras produced a new revolutionary product in the telecommunications industry. The combined technique discussion can also include the following questions. Can we merge two steps of the process, or could we apply two processes at the same time?
幫先生攞超能，
超略同埋六個人，
幫先生咧一於捉到你死人，於係死人噶啦。
豈有此理！你個飯桶！
What do they teach in that school? Ballet dancing?
I find nothing remotely amusing about Mr. Bond's escape.
You underestimated it.
Even my influence doesn't extend into the British Secret Service. I shall lie low too. I don't intend to jeopardize a project in which I've invested half my fortune when it's ready to yield billions.
And where will you hide out?
That does not concern you. Take this. Return it to the plant and don't leave there without my permission. May I remind you that you work for me. I took you on as a junior partner to be an occasional convenience, nothing more. I did not hire you to interfere in my affairs. Is that clearly understood?
Oh, yes, very clearly.
I now regret having even considered employing your services, but that is beside the point. Bond doesn't know you're in Bangkok. He's never seen you, but he knows me. That's the problem.
That's no problem.
What happened?
Mr. Fat has just resigned. I'm the new chairman of the board. He always did like that mausoleum. Put him in it.
Hey, what do you got here, rocks?
Are you kidding? When I was your age, I would lug 50 pounds of ice up 5, 6 flights of stairs.
So what?
So what? So let's dance.
I was alone. I never knew
Now, what the devil?
when we touched. Then we sang about the love and things.
The man's a menace.
All night,
Cut that off!
every night. So
Music is a violation of my personal privacy. He's breaking the law.
Really? You know, I've always been fascinated with the law, sir.
Oh, really? What areas?
Oh, all areas. Personal privacy, noise statutes. You know, I plan to go to law school after I graduated, but, looks like my folks won't have enough money to put me through college.
Well, the world needs ditch diggers, too.
Nice try.
In the scene from the James Bond franchise, a character created a golden gun by combining 4 seemingly innocuous golden objects: a pen, a lighter, a cigarette case, and a cufflink. And in the film Caddyshack, a golf bag is combined with the radio for the eccentric old man. While these examples may in fact seem silly, this same process the assassin used could be the key to your invention. The third part of Scamper, A, stands for adapt. Can you adapt something? You should think of solutions to other problems or ideas regarding other subjects and see if those solutions or ideas can apply to your idea. Adaptation is one of the most efficient techniques to solve problems through enhancing the existing system. The adapt technique brainstorming session can include the following questions. What would we need to change to reach better results? What else could be done in this specific task? How can we improve the existing process? The M in Scamper stands for magnify or modify. Can you magnify or add to it? Can I modify or change it in some way? There's 4 real good questions you could ask here, including, is there a way to increase one aspect or expand the idea into other genres or purposes? Is there a way to add anything to the problem or solution? Is there a way to add value or take the idea to an extreme? And is there a way to change one aspect of the idea to make it better? Any aspect can be changed to include something essential like purpose, all the way to little things like design, color, or size. This change is more than just adjustment, as it focuses on the overall process. For example, it can target reducing the project's process or change our perspective of how to look at the problem. The P in Scamper stands for put to other uses. Should ask, what else can this idea be used for? What else could be made from it? For example, this technique can be used to learn how to shift an existing product to another market segment or user type.
Morning, Spud. Me too. Come on, let's get some breakfast. Come on.
This scene from Pee-wee's Big Adventure definitely took put to other use to the max, but his ideas absolutely utilized the portion of Scamper. All of those normal household items were put to different uses, so he didn't have to make his breakfast, and it worked to a T. Second to last in Scamper, we have E, which stands for eliminate. Can you potentially eliminate something from the process? This step is relatively self-explanatory and often difficult to apply, especially if you have an emotional attachment to the idea based on time or energy invested. But it can often make or break the deal just to remove one aspect of an idea which could make it much, much better. 4 questions that could potentially help you utilize the eliminate portion of Scamper, and they include, what would happen if we remove this part? How can we achieve the same output without this specific part of the project? Do we really need this specific part? Finally, what would we do if we had to work with half the resources? Lastly, we have R, which stands for rearrange or reverse. Can you rearrange it? What happens when you reverse it? There are countless ways to rearrange an idea. You could ask what other arrangement might be better. Can you interchange components, change the order of the components, or change the schedule? To reverse an idea, you should examine it from the entirely opposite side. What are the opposites of the idea? What are the negatives? What happens if I reverse the roles? In an effort to improve your idea generation, one exercise you could do is to use this Scamper and the components that I've just explained in an effect to create a solution to the mind map created before. Now we'll do a little review of the 7-step process that we've been going through so far. The Scamper process starts with substitute, in which you can use other ingredients, approaches, parts, places, people, materials, or rules. You can also look to combine. You can combine units, elements, purposes, words, or anything else. Adapt. You can apply to different contexts. Find something that your idea is like, copy something, find parallel from the past, or incorporate different ideas. Magnify and modify. You should look to expand, extend, exaggerate, add something, or increase frequency or change any element or form of any component. Put to other uses. You should ask, what else could this be used for or applied to? Where could this be extended? Eliminate. You should look to see if you can cut something out, make something smaller, or streamline. Finally, rearrange or reverse. Interchange process steps or components, or focus on opposites, negatives, transporting negatives and positives, doing it backwards, or reversing roles. The homework will be for the bug list will be finish categorizing your bug list into 4 categories and create your own mind map around that category in general. Later on, we'll discuss your mind maps and what solution ideas are triggered by this exercise.